We are being told that we are responsible for whatever happens in our lives, whether this is positive or negative, that you have to take the full responsibility for that thing being present and persistent in your life. And for a long time, I did not like that statement because there's a lot of hate and possibilities and opportunities that some people have and others do not. But the reality of that statement is that whatever your starting point and whatever your experience is, the level to which those things affect you and continue to affect you are to a large extent up to you to change, to influence, or to create. So the things that we deal with, we embody either by creation, permission, invitation, tolerance, or a lot of other things that we do or fail to do. So if you're struggling with trauma or discrimination or pain or hate or suffering that has been inflicted on you without invitation, there's nothing you can do about that thing. It came to you from an external source. But the amount of time that you dwell on it without taking full responsibility for its resolution to the best of your ability every waking day of your life becomes your responsibility. Yes, you did not invite this thing into your life, but for how long do you tolerate it, minimize it, dismiss it, fail to put your full power towards its resolution? Then that tolerance becomes your fault. Some of these things we invited into our lives, and then we kept them in our lives because of that guilt that we brought them there. It becomes your responsibility to get up and pack it up and send it out to the best of your ability, starting by identifying just the first thing that you have to do, or just accepting that even though I invited this thing or person, even though I took myself into this interview and this job, it's killing me at this point of my life. It no longer meets my needs at this point of my life. And therefore, me and only me have to start to take the following steps to get out of it or to get it out of my life. The other way in which we get ourselves into these hopeless situations is by anticipation. We imagine that this project or this relationship or this family is going to do this thing for me, that this life is going to end in this way for me. And so the least bit of alteration or distraction on that journey or in that process just cripples us because of the failure to accommodate any faults or any wrongdoing or any diminished quality to that one that we allocated to that thing or person or relationship. And so the suffering that we experience around those things or people are by our own command and dedication, because we fail to see life different from the one that we expected, from that starting hypothesis that we placed on that thing. And when those prophecies don't come true, we get miserable. We start to hate ourselves and we start to hate the people around us because life has not turned out the way we anticipated. We suffer in life by creation of emotions that surround us that we fail to get rid of, creation of relationships around us that we fail to evaluate, starting with our own input into those relationships and the output that we get from them. One way or the other, we contributed to the emotions of that relationship. We contributed to what we tolerated, what we challenged or failed to challenge in that relationship. We invite things into our lives, an invitation that is based on the actual calling on that thing or the failing to stop it, to clearly identify our boundaries and state them within those situations that we're dealing with, we may as well have invited those things in our lives. So we have to take the responsibility in acknowledging that we either invited it or we accepted their own self-invitations, and we housed them and we fed them and we accommodated their values above our own. And even if we didn't do those things to ourselves, we did them by failing to challenge or evict them. Finally, our lives have a massive amount of storage capacity that just continuously fills up with things that we love and things that we hate and things that are not valuable to us and even things that we do not know that we're housing. And as we grow older, that level of storage keeps rising and rising and filling our lives with things that become us, whether we recognize those things or not. And that's another way in which we contribute to whatever happens in our lives. By storing our past experiences, our past mistakes, our past values and our thoughts and everything, without taking the time to inject new value and new beliefs and new programming into our minds, new emotions into our hearts, and everything in a way that will wire us to think and feel and act differently than we did before. So ultimately, when I look into that statement that everything that happens to you is your fault, it's your own doing, it makes sense to a very large degree. And if that thing is positive, then give yourself credit for it. Even if someone invited you onto that opportunity, you acknowledged it, you accepted it, and you worked hard for it. So the credit goes to you. Just as much as the credit for all the negative things in your life equally goes to you. You may not have inflicted that pain on you, but you spent 5 years crying over it without giving as much effort and energy towards its resolution. And the same goes for that job and that relationship and that task in your life that needs change but isn't getting done because you're blaming and hating and procrastinating and failing to do everything that it takes to move yourself away or towards that thing that is valuable to you. So do something about those things that you want to change, about those things that you want to heal, to grow with, to empower yourself with, because you're the only person who feels the value of them, who feels the pain of them, and you're the only person who could move yourself forward.